Okay, guys. Good evening. It is 8:11 p.m. New York time on Tuesday, January 9th, 2018. Again, just after 8 p.m. New York time, and I hope everybody's doing well. I don't usually put this up there, but just a little disclaimer. Even though I don't make trading recommendations on this on these videos, really just for information, but just make sure you understand what the risks are associated with forex trading and leverage and all that. And as I always say, don't take any trades based on my analysis or views. It's for educational purposes only, and you need to make your own trading decisions and make your own judgments about risk and market direction. Okay, so with that being said, just wanted to make a video regarding well, a couple of quick things. Early tomorrow morning in the early London session, we have British pound manufacturing production expected to come out slightly better than last time, 0.3 versus 0.1, and so these British pound manufacturing and commerce type releases come out pretty frequently, and lately it's been very hard to predict whether they're going to have a lot to do with the volatility in the market. There were a couple of releases last week, and one really did nothing, and the other one the next day had some pretty good volatility. So it's hard to say just what the sentiment of the market's going to be, but based on some patterns in the British pound right now on several of the pairs, I think this one could have potential. And at least the early look at this point, we're still 10 hours from the news, more than 10 hours from the news here. It looks bearish for the British pound unless we get a move down before the news comes out, and then the news comes out positive and it goes the other way. I don't know what that is, but anyway, so let's just take a quick look at some of the charts here, and so I'm going to take this off of here. That's an old label. So here's the pound Aussie on the 4-hour chart, and we had this move down. We can see with this arrow I had placed here, and now you can see we're correcting. This is certainly a corrective type pattern here after an impulsive move down. So to me that looks like it wants to go down again. So again, if we're anywhere, as long as we don't take out this high right here, as long as the price is not above this high tomorrow morning, but even if it's up around here or anywhere where it hasn't broken a trend line, then I'd be looking to possibly go short on the pound Aussie. The pound Canadian, I already have this Fibonacci on here. Now this was that big move we had down on the with the Canadian news on Friday, with the employment news being much better than expected. This was the big sell-off on that, and you can see this is my demo account, but I did go short there, and I still have this account, this trade on this account, in my real account. But you can see we've been correcting ever since then, just kind of meandering up, and we're kind of sitting at the 61.8 retracement. Looks like this may want to go up one more time, so we could possibly get back to maybe 78.6, but it still looks like a downtrend, and the CCI looks like that compressed going down, now going up, spread apart. So I'm thinking that will go down. This is the pound Swiss. Not as great looking. The Swiss has really been tricky lately, but so I've really been staying away from Swiss trades, but I could see a potential for this to go down. On the daily time frame, we did go down here, and it looks like this is corrective, but this is probably not one I will take. But it probably will go the same way if that's the case. But that's not one I'm going to trade. Pound yen, same thing. Daily chart. Just from a standpoint of these trend lines we're looking at right here, it looks like it's due to come down again. If you go all the way out to the weekly chart, I mean, this is definitely looks like it'd be setting up for a short here. So Again, this is a yen pair, so it can be a little tricky, but that's the way it looks. I don't really trade the euro pound, but I guess we could take a really quick look at it here. And yeah, this looks like it's going to end a trend. I mean, just really quick here, we look like we're probably in a wave 4, so I would expect that heading into the news tomorrow, we'll see this pair going down, and then maybe when the news comes out, that will be the end of the trend, and we'll see price go up. I mean, potentially this could be something like this right now. Oops, yeah, these got messed up. This is supposed to be down here. This is supposed to be over here. There. I don't know what happened there. My computer was a little slow, wasn't keeping up with my hand. So, something like that. So we'll see. And again, that's not really a pair that I trade, but it looks like that might confirm. And again, here's the pound kiwi. This still has a label on it here from this wave 5. It looks like the wave 5 maybe has another leg down to go. And pound dollar, same thing. I have a short on the demo account here too, and we went down, then we just kind of been moving, like this. So again, if we're, as long as we don't take out these highs into the news, which I doubt it. This is a 3-hour chart right here. We'd be trading anywhere up to sideways. As long as we stay within this range, I would expect that to go down again too. So overall, it looks negative for the pound. Based on what it looks like now. Again, still being 10 hours or so away from the news. So we'll see how that goes. I just want to touch briefly on the Canadian dollar. Again, we had that, the very positive Canadian news came out on Friday. And then yesterday we had the Canadian Business Outlook report and Business Outlook survey. And overall, it was pretty supportive. It was overall pretty good, and certainly kind of gave a little credence that they might, the Bank of Canada might have more fuel to raise rates starting next week. But there's some but there's still some economists that think that was kind of overhyped and the job numbers weren't as good as the headline looks. So what we see based on that is we had that big run down on Friday, and then we just kind of chopped around since then. Actually, if you go to the daily chart, I got a mess there with that Fibonacci on there, but here's when the news came out. We chopped around the rest of the day, actually went back up, and just really since then we've just been moving sideways to up. I put a Fibonacci retracement on here. We're sitting right at the 61.8 right now. This may want to go up again a little bit more, but this is definitely a corrective move, so I do expect that this will continue down on the pound Canadian. The US Canadian looks almost exactly the same. Here's the move down. Again, we've been correcting since then. So I do expect these the Canadian to continue to strengthen after it takes a breather here. The Euro Canadian, same thing. Looks like we're correcting up right now. Canadian yen. Now the yen really strengthened today, so I have this Fibonacci on here, and you can see this is the 6-hour chart, but you can go to any of these, and the market really went down today. It's really been down all day, but this really honestly is being driven not so much by a sell-off in the Canadian. I think the Canadian dollar is actually pretty neutral right now, which is why all these other pairs are just correcting sideways. But the yen really strengthened today, so you can see all the yen pairs are down. If you go and look at all the yen pairs, here's the euro yen. You can see that's been down all day, but just as an example. This is a pretty deep correction here, but I would anticipate that, assuming that we get the risk, the risk sentiment backs off a little bit, that would go back up on this pair. And Canadian Swiss, again, the Swiss is really kind of a mess right now, so I'm really not interested in trading that pair. So, but I do think the pound Canadian and the U.S. Canadian, those two certainly have opportunity to continue down. And so if you look at all of those, the pound Canadian is probably the best setup, because if the news tomorrow on the pound is negative, so you take negative pound news and you take positive Canadian news, assuming that the sentiment remains strong with the Canadian, I think one of the better moves would be, if you're going to take a pound trade, would look at the pound Canadian. So, because I think the combination of a weak pound and a strong Canadian dollar will really propel this thing down. So that's where I'd probably be favoring if I decide to take a trade tomorrow morning. But any of these pound pairs, pound Aussie, pound yen, pound Kiwi, all have potential. But don't forget about the U.S. Canadian. I think that has at least one more push down. Even if we just get back to this low here, you're still looking at well over 100 pips. So I think the U.S. Canadian still has some good potential to the downside once this correction finishes. That might be it, but it might be a nice move down. I'm not sure what's going to propel that. There's no Canadian news this week, so it would really just be sentiment. There is U.S. dollar news tomorrow. Crude oil, I don't think that's going to do anything. Thursday we have U.S. PPI. Maybe that comes out negative. And Friday we have U.S. CPI. This is really the important one to watch this week. So it's potential that we may just see this just chop around until then, or we could see this go down on sentiment, and then when the PPI and the CPI news comes out, that ends the trend and it goes back up if that news comes out positive. So, but there's no Canadian news, at least nothing scheduled to resume these trends. So it's going to take something else to kick this back into gear. But keep an eye on it, because you'll know the end of the correction when you start seeing this big red candle forming. But be cautious, because we certainly could correct further. And really, I would say, I probably not want to see it take out this high right here. So I think we could potentially just keep correcting up towards this trend line, and then see a sell-off at some point, or see it poke through here and then go back down. So just one to keep an eye on, but certainly for tomorrow, the pound pairs are what I'll be watching. So anyways, that's it, guys. Any questions, let me know. Leave comments, share the video, like the video, please. And that's great. All right. Hope you all have a good night and a good trading week, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.